Let's get into our team selection then. As ever, I will say Alisson in goal. David, I'll let you lead us on the back four.
Yeah, I think it's got to be the one that finished the game at Tottenham, hasn't it? What's that? Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold on the flanks, Nat Phillips and Jordan Henderson. I don't think there's a lot of other options there, really. I think you've got to leave Jordan Henderson in there. You can't bring him back into midfield. So, and I think Nat Phillips, the fact that he was the one who picked off the bench, I thought he actually, apart from the challenge where he absolutely clattered, I think was it Son when he came on, it was a horrendously late challenge. Yeah. Apart from that, he sort of seemed. I think after that he got the pace of the game, and then later on there was an interception actually made in the box. It was absolutely brilliant, where you were at risk of giving away a penalty. He was really good. So yeah, I think he's probably earned the right to stay in there, particularly with Rhys Williams making that mistake the other day. I think he'll probably show faith in Nat Phillips again against West Ham.
Okay, Doyley, midfield.
Well, the defence is...
unless you want to change the defence, yeah. Is there anyone else to pick?
I'm sure Doyley will agree with me 100%, as usual.
I agree 100%. Not as usual, but I do agree. And I also actually think, I just wanted to talk about Nat Phillips very briefly and say that I wouldn't say he's been harshly treated, but I think he probably deserved a longer run of a few more chances in the team. I know there's obviously worries about his pace, but what he's got, he had a year at Stuttgart, and I know they weren't in the Bundesliga first division, in the second division, but it's still a decent sized team, and he's playing competitive football. And Rhys Williams, while I do think he'll end up becoming a decent defender, whether that's at Liverpool, I'm not sure in the long run, but he'd had a season at Kidderminster Harriers in non-league, and I think he's already started more than twice as more than twice as many senior games for Liverpool as he has Premier League 2 games for the under-23s, which kind of underlines that he's perhaps been pushed forward. And while he's obviously did very well in certain games, that I think the United game was unfair on him because he was put in such a position that I think Nat Phillips is probably best suited at the moment, and I think just Rhys Williams being kept away from the team might just do him a world of good as well.
Yeah, Williams is a kid, isn't he? You don't want him to keep playing games and make mistakes and that confidence to drain out. Whereas Nat Phillips, he's had a few more years about him. He's got a bit more experience, a few more clubs he's played at. And he's a defender who can actually defend. His head doesn't drop if he does make a mistake. And it might not be the Liverpool way, but it's traditional, old-fashioned defending. And when you've got no one in there, that's what they need.
Yeah, definitely. Doyley then, midfield?
I would make a change. I think Milner is going to be needed for games later next week. So I would play Wijnaldum in the defensive midfield role again, Thiago with his lovely new bandage, and Curtis Jones can come in and provide a little bit of running aroundedness, because I think I'm right in saying that he came on at West Ham last season, so he'll know how to deal with the vast expanses of that terrible stadium.
Not Ox with those vast areas
what's interesting about Ox is he is better suited to when they've got some centre backs actually playing, because he doesn't offer as much midfield cover. I think the other three do, and I think even Curtis Jones offers a little bit more. I know it's a bit daft because this, Oxlade-Chamberlain played wing back, didn't he, for Arsenal? So you'd think he'd know his defensive duties, but that's never been his job at Liverpool. He's always been more progressive player, and I think that's what Klopp would rather he did, rather than got back and, for somebody who's been out for so long, I think that'd be asking a bit too much of him.
Fair enough. Theo, what are you saying about the midfield?
It's a tough one. Thiago, is he okay? Like, it was pretty bad head collision, wasn't it?
Well, he played the remainder of the game, didn't he? So I think he'll be fine. If he was concussed, they would have just taken him off.
He finished the derby and was out for 2 months.
Yeah, that was 1 minute, though, wasn't it? To be fair to him, that was 1 minute. It wasn't like nearly a half. Stop trying to kill off all Liverpool's players. Come on.
It does feel like you need James Milner in there as captain when you've got Henderson in defence, because granted Henderson missed the Burnley game, but Milner was missed in there as well. Like, Gino Adam as captain is not the same sort of thing. So I kind of like to start James Milner in there. Yeah, there's the feeling that maybe he will suffer an injury. Like, when he's not had a run of games and he is thrown back in, it tends to be when he gets his little knocks. But when he can get past that, he's still one of the fittest players at the squad, and he can get going. It's just getting that rhythm into him. So when Liverpool are going to need him for the rest of the season, hopefully he can find that rhythm now against West Ham. And then it's probably going to have to be as it is with Gini Wijnaldum, Thiago Alcantara. Curtis Jones, he's the only other option because Naby is missing in action. Oxlade-Chamberlain just hasn't been seen this season either. So we'll go with that. Curtis Jones can be first off the bench. Maybe if you can take a bit out of Steven Gerrard's back catalogue and show a few more leadership skills, he can have more of a presence in there so they can rotate Milner later on.
Fair enough. Lynchy, what do you reckon about the midfield?
Yeah, I maybe err on the side of Milner just because it's a tough away game, a team that's in good form and very physical as well. So I think possibly you ask maybe Milner to get through one more and then maybe Curtis Jones gets his start in the next one, which is Brighton, I believe.
Yes, Brighton Wednesday Anfield.
There we go.
Premier League,
There's that many games that I just have to forget.
You two just want to move down south for a couple of weeks.
No, I was thinking of it, to be fair.
And then Curtis Jones maybe comes back in against Brighton, and I think so. Maybe one more for Milner if he can hack it.
Yeah, push him to the limit. Well, the thing attacking three. Who are the three going to be?
Tough one, isn't it? That's a really tough one. I think we should go with Lynchy first. See what he says.
I said Theo, and that's my internet, but.
Sorry, it broke up. Apologies.
Yeah,
no, that's fine. No, Theo, you can lead us on this.
Salah, Firmino, Mane. Got to be, isn't it? They're in form again. Two of them got the goals. One of them was very unlucky not to get his goal. You don't take them out when they just seem to show a bit of form, having not shown any form for a month. Tried and trusted. Anybody gonna disagree with that, or are we all happy with that? The forward three being the forward three.
Got to be, hasn't it? Now they're back in form, they look so sharp, and I think in these away games as well, they link up. You get a little bit more room, don't they? And they're linking up so well at the last night. So I think, you got to stick with them.
Then Matt, you first.
I'm not
going to make it to the end.
Match predictions.
Yeah,
do you want predictions, Guy? Yeah,
everyone's on tenterhooks. Yeah, match predictions. Doyley, Theo, Lynchy.
Okay, I will, because you might get cut off here. I'll just say 2-1 to Liverpool.
2-1 to Liverpool.
2-0 to Liverpool.
Great stuff. Well, hopefully connections held out. That is it from us here on the Blood Red podcast. Do make sure that you catch all of the build-up to Sunday's game down at the London Stadium and all of the post-match reaction. And then, of course, on Monday, we'll be back with the Blood Red podcast. It'll be a transfer deadline day special. Do Liverpool have time to get a centre-back in the building? We'll have to wait and see. But from us here on the Blood Red podcast, that's all we've got time for. It's bye for now.